So a lot of big things happened in this last episode of Monday Night Raw. One of those big things being Edge and Chris Jericho form another alliance. We all know they were tag team partners last year. They even went on to win the Unified Tag Team Championships. Edge, he ends up going out with an injury, comes back this year to feud with Chris Jericho over the World Championship. Even has a match at WrestleMania 26 for the World Heavyweight Championship. But after all of that, they're back in a tag team with each other. They formed an alliance after both of them were removed from the Raw team that will face off against Nexus at this upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view. Edge, he ended up quitting the team. Chris Jericho, he lost the match versus John Cena, where the stipulation was loser leaves Team Raw. So he lost the match, so he left Team Raw. But John Cena even offered him a spot back on the team, but he declined. Then Edge and Chris Jericho, they formed that alliance with each other. And they'll face off in a tag team match. Edge and Chris Jericho versus John Cena and Bret Hart next week. And speaking of Bret Hart, you have Bret Hart, the Great Khali, still on Team Raw, but Edge and Chris Jericho not really knowing what the hell is going on in this whole situation. People are speculating that maybe Chris Jericho and Edge will find their way back on the team. Like they were saying, next week it was going to be a stipulation added to that tag team match where if Edge and Chris Jericho lose, then they'll be forced to be placed back on Team Raw. But I don't see how the remaining members of Team Raw would agree to a stipulation like that, seeing as Edge and Chris Jericho, they're two very devious and conniving people. I don't see why you would want two people like that, no matter what their ability is, as far as the storyline goes, why you would want two people like that watching your back. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but maybe we'll get two people to replace them, like Evan Bourne or Mark Henry, somebody like that. A lot of people wanted to see Evan Bourne in this match, so maybe you will get your wish next week or, before SummerSlam. Who knows? But what else did I have to talk about? The Great Khali, he's being courted by Nexus. They even offer him a spot to join their faction. No. Just no. I do not want to see Great Khali. Hell, I don't want to see Great Khali at all. Never mind him being on Nexus. Like, I'm not really a Khali fan. A lot of people are saying they like Khali when he isn't playing that joke-type character, the Punjabi playboy. They like him when he's a serious, monster, giant heel. I don't even like him then. I'm just being completely honest. I think he's just in WWE because he's an attraction. Like, he's real tall, and that's it. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, a lot of people will call him a circus act. I think that's a little bit too harsh for my taste. I'm not going to say that, but I'm just letting y'all know what people say. They call him a circus act, Like I said, I'm not going to go there, but, moving on. And also, Bret Hart, like I said, he's in a match next week. I know a lot of you guys are just so overjoyed that Bret Hart will be competing once again in WWE. Please do not even attempt to contain your excitement. Just let me know what you think about Bret Hart being in another match, at this point, after I think he's had a very storybook return to WWE, but he's, still competing in matches. So what do you guys think about that? But on to the next topic. Melina, she makes her triumphant return to WWE. No, before I even get to Melina, I have to talk about Wade Barrett, because he had a match last night on Raw versus Edge, and the match, something just wasn't right about the match. I think WWE, they need to put more of an effort into defining each member of Nexus, or especially Wade Barrett, seeing as he is a leader. They need to put more of an effort into defining them individually, because they worked well together as a unit. But when you break them up, like I've been wanting the members of Nexus to start having singles matches and start competing in matches, but then it's like, it's so crazy because Nexus, it's a main event faction full of rookies. Then you have Wade Barrett. If he competes versus anybody under the level of main event, it'll kind of seem like a squash match, such as him versus Mark Henry. Then if he competes with anybody that is on that main event level, it'll seem like he isn't worthy, because we're so used to seeing him in a unit. Like I said, Nexus, main event faction with a bunch of rookies. So when you break it up, you start to encounter those problems. But yeah, I do think they need to define Wade Barrett, especially his personality, a lot more individually. On to the topic that I was going to talk about. Melina, she makes her triumphant return to WWE. She attacked the Divas champion, Alicia Fox. I'm hoping that Melina, she provides that much needed spark to the WWE Divas division, because it's been pretty bad. It's been horrible for a wow now. Now, I know Melina, she can't save it all on her own. I think WWE, they need to start pushing more divas like Natalya and Gail Kim, you know, women wrestlers who could actually jump in the ring and know what they're doing and not come off as embarrassing when they try to work a match. I cannot wrap my head around this for the life of me, why they don't push people like that. Like, you have people on your roster that can actually work a match, but you treat them as afterthoughts instead of pushing them and putting the spotlight on them. And some people may say, oh, well, the reason why Vince is doing this with Gail Kim is because she went to TNA, she left WWE for TNA. That was a year and a half ago. Well, she's been back in WWE for like a year and a half, even longer than that, because she was back with WWE a while before she even appeared back on TV. But yeah, Vince, if that is a reason, and I don't know if that is exactly the reason, you should just get over it. Why would you want your Divas division to suffer just because you're trying to prove some point? Like, if that is the reason, just get over it. But back to Melina, like I said, she can't save the division single-handedly, but she can provide a little bit of interest to the division, because I haven't been caring about anything that goes on with the WWE Divas for a while. But even with Melina being back for only one night, she has added that interest to me. So I'll be looking forward to see Melina and her chase for the Divas Championship and see what comes out of that. So congratulations to her on her recovery and her return. Speaking of WWE Divas, I have to go to Ted DiBiase and Maurice. Ted DiBiase obviously is not a WWE Diva, but Maurice, she's been paired up with him to serve as his valet. I've been reading reports that they did this to try to make Ted DiBiase seem more interesting, but the interesting thing about that is this pairing seems like it's doing more for Maurice than it is Ted DiBiase. Now, I don't know if you guys are thinking that. Let me know what you think about this pairing, because it's been, I think it's been, like, they've been together for like over a month now, but I haven't talked about it much on YouTube. But here goes. Ted DiBiase, they throw his daddy's gimmick on him. They throw the $1 Million Championship on him. Now they place Maurice by his side. They're trying to do everything in their power to make this guy into something that isn't really connecting with the fans. Like, I don't see it connecting. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a fan of Ted DiBiase. I like him, but like I said, there's just some disconnect right there where something isn't working out for him. Maybe it's because he has a problem displaying his personality or a lack of charisma, whatever it is. But I don't know. It seems like they have a lot of prospects in him, but something isn't working out in the process. WWE, they love getting these second, third generation wrestlers, you know, who have famous families, but it's either hit or miss, just like it is with anybody else. It's not like there's a certain gene where you're predisposed to be a great wrestler or something like that just because your father was or just because your grandfather was. We have people like Randy Orton who come in there and they blaze their own path, even, you know, exceeding far and beyond whatever their fathers and their grandfathers even did. Like Randy Orton, and he's been in WWE for, you know, not even 10 years, and he's already surpassed his father and his grandfather. Then you have people who come into WWE and they completely flop, and you have to think, like, some of these people that are second and third generation wrestlers, they probably wouldn't even get a second look had they not had a certain last name, you know, whatever their last name is. So yeah, it remains to be seen where Ted DiBiase will land in the grand scheme of things. But as far as the Randy Orton route goes, he's not there quite yet, but hopefully he, you know, restructures and, you know, finds the road to success in WWE, because I really am pulling for him. I just can't see it happening right now. So, moving on to the next topic and the final topic for this video, The Miz, Mr. Money in the Bank, United States Champion, The Miz. A lot of people, they're still doubting The Miz, saying that he's not going to win the WWE Championship. He's not going to be a world champion. He'll lose the Money in the Bank briefcase without winning that world championship. People are saying that, oh, he's going to get the Mr. Kennedy treatment. Oh, you know, he has the United States Championship, so he can't win the WWE Championship. First off, on the Mr. Kennedy thing, the reason why Mr. Kennedy lost his Money in the Bank briefcase was because he went out with an injury. There's a time limit on, you know, how long you can take to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. So they thought he was going to be out longer than the time limit that was allotted to cashing in the briefcase. So they took it from him. They gave it to Edge. He cashed it in. He ended up winning that world championship. But I'm pretty sure if Mr. Kennedy had kept himself healthy and uninjured, he would have went on to win that world championship. But I guess too bad for him. But as long as The Miz keeps himself healthy, I think he'll be on that road to that World Championship. As far as his aborted cash-ins go, he didn't have one this week. I'm glad with that. They need to start spreading those out. I'm thinking of a way that, and this also ties into the United States Championship thing. Like, people, do you honestly think if WWE wanted to make The Miz a world champion, that they would let something as insignificant as the United States Championship hold them up? Like, that's for all of the people saying, oh, he's not going to win the championship because he has the United States Championship. Do you honestly think he'll keep that championship for a year? Nah. He's going to lose it sometime, hopefully to somebody like Evan Bourne or John Morrison. Then they can go into a feud or something where The Miz, he loses the championship, and then the guy, whoever wins the championship, they're like, hey, I beat you for this championship. Why not try for the Money in the Bank briefcase? And then, you know, they have one pay-per-view match for the championship. Then they have another one for the Money in the Bank briefcase. That way, The Miz can lose that championship but still redeem himself and by winning and retaining that Money in the Bank briefcase. And that also keeps the Money in the Bank briefcase at the focus without, you know, continuous failed cash-ins. So, yeah, The Miz, I do think WWE has big plans for him. They've been putting him in main events. He's main event at Raw 2 weeks in a row. In these 2 weeks, he's been in matches with people like John Cena, Chris Jericho, Randy Orton. He's starting to develop his in-ring style very well, if I must say so myself. You know, a lot of people would say that The Miz sucks in the ring. I don't think he sucks at all. I think he's just, you know, taking his time to develop that in-ring persona. And maybe that's WWE's fault, because maybe they should have had him develop his in-ring persona before giving him a push, not after. But hell, WWE does ass-backwards stuff all the time, so what's the difference now? Like, what do you really expect? But, yeah, he is getting there. He looked very impressive, even though he lost this match with Randy Orton. And, yeah, I'll have more to talk about this match later on in the week, because I saw something very interesting and also alarming in this match, and I have to bring that up on YouTube, but, you know, this is not the place or time. So I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah, Sideshow Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully you guys stop by, jaydubshow.com, all of that good stuff. I am Jaydub, and peace out.